Love it. All right. Well, we're going to be building on that immensely today. All right, everyone. So day two, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. All right. All right. So yesterday, right, we went over the inducement, all the different liquidity types, the inducement types. You're going to be learning about the last inducement type today, especially how we start gauging inducements for everything that's to come with the algo. The inducement is just one piece of it, but what we want to get you guys to understand is that structure is imperative. You need to know it, not for the traditional use, but understanding that structure is one of the most manipulated forms of liquidity. We need to understand why and where all different types of traders are losing. So we learned about trend lines. We learned about break and retest, support resistance, breakout traders. We didn't talk too much about SMC traps yesterday because that is directly contingent on inducements, as you're going to be learning today. SMC traps are how we use them is different than everybody else. And that's what you're going to be learning today. SMC traps aren't just order blocks lying at liquidity. It's specific as it relates to the algo. And specifically, you're going to be learning my proprietary edge and findings today on a specific type of liquidity that is imperative when you are mastering and understanding the algos. So as mentioned, this is a mastermind boot camp, but there's a whole pillar system that you will be exposed to. And then after the boot camp is over, you're going to go in individually between each pillar, master all of those associated concepts to then go to the next one, to the next one. So today is going to be exposing the algo origins to you guys, talking about what it is, why we use it, how I came across it, my own findings, and then how we apply this consistently on a daily basis for intraday scalp swing position trades. So today, everybody, again, you guys are going to be learning about the inner workings of the algo controlling all markets, learn when, where, and why all moves happen, and how to develop this algorithmic mindset that will enable you to follow the algo footprint. So block one, block two, block three. Today, as mentioned, block one is going to be doing a quick recap of all things covered the previous day. So we're going to be going over the advanced liquidity mastery, the inducement mastery. We're then going to be introducing the inducement cycle, the SMC traps as it relates to the algo. And then all block two is going to be all about the algo. So understanding how the banks really trade, what the central bank algo is explained, going through the liquidity cycle, aka the checks and balances of the algo, and then potentially last but not least, showing you guys why people try and ping pong the markets, but why we do not do that, as there's a more efficient and a much better way to make your money work for you and for you not to be spending so much time on the charts, because trading isn't just about, the financial freedom. It's about the time as well. You don't want to be behind the charts 12 hours a day. We want to be behind the charts as least as possible, so we can make as much as we can. But that initial learning curve is where you should be putting in all the time, all the practice, the hours to really be able to master the concepts. So when you are in the live scenario and you know what your journey looks like from a daily trading, then you can actually start to reap the benefits and rewards of your hard work that you're putting in now and over the next several weeks and months to come. And then the third block, right, we're then going to be touching up all things from the second block, going over case studies, intentions and purpose, which is huge. No one has ever talked about intentions and purpose. It's the mindset you're going to be developing about understanding what situational analysis is, not just, oh, do this, do that, do this. It's all right, if this happens, then what do I do? Well, this can happen, so how will I react? It's all situational. So while you can have a very straightforward approach, which I know some people, that's all they want, you're going to have that. But if you want to take it to the next level, you're going to have that situational intention and purpose thinking that's going to allow you to think with that mindset. Give me a second, guys. I got to, if everyone can please mute their mics. Let's see. I haven't muted the mics. Also for the chat, I'm going to be turning off the chat for right now. If you guys need anything, everyone will be reaching out to me here. Hold on. One moment. Trying to fix those. Okay. All right. So that's what we're going to be covering today. Next weekend, right, we're going to go over the intraday mastery, combining everything that you're going to be learning today, and then how to apply it on an intraday basis. So that's going to be inclusive of all things related to Asia session. Even if you think you know Asia session, we have our own specific edge on Asia. It's not just a typical daily cycle BTMM that a lot of people understand. It's specific setups every single day based on the algo, what's going to be happening and how to apply this on a fractal level. Fractally meaning how to apply it, on a daily, the 15-minute from a weekly perspective, how everything is working together to be building a bigger picture. All the psychomastery, all the different cycles, many, many, many different cycles, a few of which you're going to be learning today. And of course, ending next weekend, Saturday, off of mastermind entries, scale in positions, and developing that perfect plan now that you have a plan of action for the whole strategy as a whole. But then you actually are going to know how to apply it on an intraday basis. Do this, do this, do this, this, and this. And that's how you find your setup for London or New York session, and so on, right? And then, of course, the last day is going to be the algo mastery, combining the algo origins, the intraday mastery, and really starting to shift your perspective to only liquidity-based trading. That is what we want, the goal to be. Now, is this going to apply to everybody? No, because I know, and I think that you guys might know as well, some of your levels of knowledge might even be stuck at structure right now. So don't think that, I have to get to day 4. I have to know everything on day 4 to be successful. No, you do not need any of that to be successful. You just need a willful mindset. You have the discipline and trade a strategy that works for you, right? What I'm trading are my own findings and what has worked for me. But we have had students that have taken everything that we've taught them and they've made their own edge out of it, created their own derivative that works for them. And that's what our hopes are for you guys. So just because you're going to be learning everything, 100% do not apply everything. Only do the same things consistently. And that's how you're going to be consistent. Because at the end of the day, perfection will never be the goal. If you want to be and have perfection, this is not for you, because we are about making money in the most effective way possible, right? It's not, you don't want to spend all these hours on a chart not making money, because at the end of the day, you're learning the skill set to be making money. However you make money, as long as you're making it, it's not going to matter, right? So take what you learn from us today, tomorrow, and then next Sunday, and then that's where we're going to go through the course and start creating and figuring out what works best for you and your lifestyle, your psychology. All right. So as mentioned, everybody, you guys have already taken the first step in the phase. Now you guys are in phase 2. You guys are now a part of the boot camp, going through, making sure that, as you're going to be learning right after the boot camp, this boot camp, especially today, next Saturday, and especially next Sunday, you might get overwhelmed. You might be like, wow, I thought I caught on after day 1, then I completely lost my mind. Do not worry. This boot camp is meant to completely shock your whole analysis, like shock your whole perspective. It's not meant to be, oh, I know this, I'm going to be profitable right out of the gate, because most of the time you will not be, because you have to have the experience that's going to allow you to do so. So expect during this boot camp, pay as close attention as you can, but do not be surprised if after today and the whole boot camp, if you thought you knew something and then now nothing makes sense. That is the purpose. We want to make sure that everything you thought you knew was just like, wow, I don't know anything now. That's exactly where we want you to be, because that's where the course, that's where the education comes in, to start rewiring your brain so you can actually digest and process everything that's been taught as a whole, and taking it piece by piece to then start to rebuild, those blocks to then make you, profitable, successful, and a really good analyst, right? So then afterwards, practice. On the 4th day in the boot camp, I will be talking to you guys about the actual approach, the actual tier-based system for the current community as well. The different rankings, also the different access that you're going to get based off those rankings, ensuring that for each tier that you're going to be going through, you have the specific education that correlates with that tier. You have the specific results, if it's financially, if it's study-wise, you have those results. And then, that engagement and really working together with teams that we're going to be, again, talking about on day 4. And then, of course, after you go through all of that, that's a whole process within itself, is phase 3. That's not going to be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It's going to be, a several week period that you guys are going to see the outline for. And afterward, of course, it's your freedom. You're then at that point going to have your challenge accounts completed. You're going to have your first withdrawal from your funding accounts. You're going to be working with the capital you already have on your personal accounts, so on and so forth. But once you have that blueprint written out for you, all that's left to do is follow it. And we want it to be as easy as that. But oftentimes it is much harder than people think, because anyone can make a plan, but to actually follow it requires those two things that everyone in the world struggles with, especially when it comes to trading, is accountability and discipline. You need to be able to follow a plan. We can lead you to the water, right? But we can't force you to drink it. So as long as you have the ambition and the mindset and that strive for success, it's inevitable, but you have to continue to put in the work. And the boot camp is just the first, handful of percent of it. It doesn't make up for the greater picture that we're going for. So make sure to pay attention, take all the best notes you can, and get right into it. So remember about the bootcamp challenge, right? This bootcamp, we are going to be giving away a 50K MFF account. All you have to do is take a picture of any slide throughout the bootcamp, as long as it's not sensitive material. You will know what it is. Tag our account in your story post, hashtag bootcamp challenge. Right now, we've already had a handful of people participate, but this is a free 50K account, 50K MFF account. So if you've ever wanted to achieve funding, if you've ever wanted to have an opportunity, this is your opportunity to be selected for that drawing at the end of day 4, where the winner will be announced. So if anyone has any questions, again, you can type in the chat, you can ask messages, but make sure your account is public. That's the only way that we're gonna be able to see it, and tag us in your story. Right, so the 1 entry again is anything that we post in our story, you repost it. 2 entries is going to be if you take an authentic picture of your notes or your screen and you can see the bootcamp. And then the third for the 5 entries is going to be a quick, 10-second video about how the day of the bootcamp was, your experience, anything of that nature. All right, again, message me if you have any questions about that. So now we're gonna go to the breakout groups. We're gonna do 2 more today, and then we should be completed with everyone. So 4 total. We're gonna go ahead and do a breakout group again for 5 minutes. And after that breakout, we're gonna be starting day 2. All right, so I'm going to break you guys out into groups. Remember to answer these questions. Are you guys able to see all of these questions when I send you guys to the breakout rooms? No? Shoot, I don't know how to keep it then. Well, pretty simple. Where are you from? How many years of training experience do you have? And then, best advice you ever received, just introduce yourselves, right? It's just casual. You get to know one another, because you guys will be really starting to work with one another here immediately after the bootcamp. So let's get right to it. Awesome. All right, give me a second now. All right, guys, I'm creating these breakout rooms now, and all right, you guys are ready to join. I'm going to set a 5-minute timer starting now. So just go ahead, join your group, and back here in 5 minutes. Ziggy, set a 5-minute timer. Then join your respective room.
Angelo, you're in group 4. Room 4.
At 2 p.m. Hopefully we'll get it done. Started. All right, so we're gonna have 1 more of those later on today, and then we're gonna be done with those breakout rooms. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so again, just some rules and reminders. Right, so bootcamp is 4 days, 4 to 5 hours each day. Yesterday was a little longer. Today is going to be around the same. We can expect to end today at 2 p.m. Hopefully we'll get it done quicker. Again, the thing that I've done in the past is being very thorough with the bootcamp, especially as we didn't have this course on the back end. So again, more details later, but the bootcamp, we're going to be going through it rather quick, so then we can get you guys ready, so you can start going through the course, so then you have all of your questions that you'll be able to have answered, as the course continues on. Again, the recording camera on the entire time. Our moderators will be actively watching. And if you guys have to leave, if you have to get on the phone, if you have to do anything that requires you to leave, we just ask that you let the moderator know, get put back into the waiting room, or leave the call, and then join back. For those who aren't able to stay on the boot camps the entire time, or who isn't able to abide by these rules for their circumstances, by leaving, that does allow you to then rewatch the boot camp of the sections you missed, and that'll be announced after the boot camp. Again, writing down your questions is so important. I would highly encourage you guys to please organize them. If you're writing them on the same page that you are using, that you're writing your notes on, that's going to not be effective in the slightest. So what I'd recommend is have a whole questions sheet, have the day of the boot camp, that you're on, have the specific block, and then below, then I would start writing out your question, and then the next block, and then questions. So each day of the boot camp, I'd encourage you guys to have a separate sheet of paper, or if it's very minimal, the amount of questions you have, use same, but being organized is going to allow you guys to be it's going to enhance your overall journey, and just being organized A to Z. Right, take your high quality notes, just run through that day, the block, the notes, write the diagrams, draw the diagrams, everything that you need to do, of course, opportunity at the end. And then last but not least, have fun, trust the process. You guys, again, I don't care how smart, as I know you guys in here are, some of you guys are absolutely geniuses. All of you guys are really up and smart. This will not happen overnight. And those who are part and who will tell you, it does not happen overnight, especially with what we're about to go through today and next weekend. It's a whole process. And from the back testing to the live experience, we are not just catered to making guys great analysts. We are emphasizing making guys phenomenal traders. That comes with a level of mental fortitude, building these building the muscles inside of your mind that's going to allow you to trust, everything that you're learning right now, to trust that it's going to be answered in very explicit detail later on. And you're going to be like, oh, now I know why, this question wasn't answered, or this amount of time wasn't spent on this, because it wasn't the right time, or it wasn't the right, I wasn't in the right mindset to then start to handle new challenges. So that being said, you guys are going to be graduating all together. You're going to be working together. We're going to be introducing teams immediately after boot camp is completed for previous students. We're all here for the similar reasons. And by developing these relationships, by developing and working with those who really want to aspire to get to the next level. And some of you guys who are already there, you just want to then 10x it and keep going. We all want to get there. So the real mastery begins afterwards. We're going to fly through as much as we can, most efficiently, and it's going to be a great day. All right, guys. So day 2, Total Mastermind Bootcamp, we are going to be reviewing everything about inducements from the first day. All right, so type 1 inducement. Everyone go ahead and type in the chat what you think about for type 1 inducements. You guys have 10 seconds and we're going to go right through it. What are type 1 inducements? What are they inducing? Specifically, what type of trader are we geared to think the opposite about? Awesome, right? SMC, reversal. Yep, you guys got it, right? So inducement type 1. This is what we consider a HTF false BOS. It is our continuation inducement where SMC traders view reversals. So we know we have a high, a higher low, a higher high. All SMC traders are going to be looking for an order block right here. We need to think that in order for us to go any higher, even if this is where we currently are now, if we want to go any higher than this point, we have to induce lower. So in order to go higher, we have to induce traders lower. In order to go lower, if we want to go lower than this point, we have to take out a high before doing so. It's always trapping some form of some type of trader in the wrong direction, so then that initial direction can continue. It induced traders to believing a new trend is happening. This is why we call it an FBOS, a false BOS, because a BOS, when you see structure break, that doesn't mean it's a break of structure. Sometimes it's a necessary evil that needs to happen so that people can lose for then price to continue the direction it wants to go, grabbing that gas to then target the destination. So we always want to be thinking about gas. Where is that gas lying? This type of inducement lies below higher lows in an uptrend and lies above lower highs in a downtrend. As far as our order block, right? Our order block that we're going to be using for our entry is going to be lying below our inducement type 1. So the immediate order block that's lying below, that has all of those qualities from a decisional to an extreme with all the 4 core features, that is what we're going to be looking for our order block refinement. Also, for an order block to be considered valid, the inducement is what validates the order block. So SMC, right? What does SMC do? Oh, here's an order block. I'll wait for a BOS, a confirmation to get in, and then I'll trade to run away. Oftentimes you've experienced that when you wait for BOS in an order block, price can just run away without you. The reason why inducement is our trigger for entry and not a BOS is because inducement ensures, right here, this inducement ensures that we're going to be rapidly rating this liquidity. The order block is going to be the responsible catalyst that's going to reverse price the opposite direction. And oftentimes, if you wait for a BOS, it's just going to run off without you. So inducement is your trigger. Also, the inducement needs to be, relatively speaking, close. If you have something on the chart that looks like, this, and you have, so you have this all the way down here. If you say this is an inducement, yes, it is. But let's say your order block is all the way down here. Do we really think that price is just going to go all the way down and then go up? Most likely not. It could end up taking it out, but then it'll start building now possibly type 2 inducements where then price will reverse. So just be mindful that if your inducement is 30, 40 pips away, most likely it's not going to validate the order block. You're going to need to focus on something that happens after the main inducement to look for some form of internal inducement, right? So this is for our buys, and then for our sells, we can see here the exact same thing. We don't look from things from a trading range perspective. We need to think about the range always being broken, right? We're not trading structure, we're trading structural breaks. So ask yourself, well, where does structure need to be broken? It doesn't matter if it's a continuation, if it's a reversal. We know if we want to be looking to sell, we need to expect structure to break to the upside because everyone's going to be losing here. We already talked about all of those different types of traders who will be losing their positions here, identifying the order block just above, and then we will be now targeting new lows. So go ahead and type a 1 in the chat if you feel fairly confident with the conceptualization of type 1 inducements. Awesome. All right, type 2, right? Type 2. Well, type 1 is what we consider a continuation inducement because SMC looks for reversal trades due to BOS. Type 2 inducements, these are our reversal inducements or the false, or rather the continuations that SMC sees, right? So in this scenario, type 2 inducements, they do the same thing, but we use them for reversals. So what's going to happen is compared to our type 1, our type 2 inducements, the main range will remain intact from this lower high to this lower low. And we know that we're always going to have an extreme above the range or at the lower high of the range. So our extreme is going to be here. At this moment in time, it is a valid order block, but the inducement is what really tells us if it's correct or not. So if there's an order block, then we have to wait for an inducement because we know just looking at this chunk right here without looking at anything to the right, that price could either come above here or it could maintain and just come to the order block right here. It's either going to do one or the other. So we need to be mindful that we need to see an inducement before this extreme that's going to validate the order block. So what's going to happen is whenever you've seen a chalk, right? I mean, let's say this is even a lower time frame. We have our main leg right here, and then all of this is our small internal lower time frame structure. Oh, it's BOS. You see a little retracement, and then you see, high, higher low, and then a higher high. The traders who are getting trapped in this, remember, are those traders who are stuck on internal time frames. That's why you always need to be mindful of two time frames: your main trend and then your internal trend to that main time frame. So again, what we're clearly seeing here are these traders internally, they're only focused on, oh, we have a higher low, higher high. So they're expecting a higher low and this to happen, but rather they're not acknowledging that the main directional bias in this scenario is sells. So the inducement is we're going to be selling above an internal higher high, selling above. This is going to trap all of those on lower time frames, looking for those buys, find the extreme order block that meets all of our criteria. And then we are simply going to expect price to make new structural lower lows because of this internal, right, validation. Right. And then the sells on the opposite end. This is something I add a little bit extra to, but right here, when you see this scenario happen, this is taken to the next level. I would add in this right here, SMT. I would add this into your nose. What happens is maybe price is reacting from an order block at equal highs, equal lows, whatnot. Maybe we have some equal highs over here, right? And let's say for whatever reason, price mitigates this order block and then starts to create a reaction. Oh, shoot, is it going to work out? If this is an SMT, if this is not a correct order block, meaning it's lying at liquidity, or it can just give a reaction and it won't make, new structural lows. What's happening is it's just going to cause a pullback. So how when price is either going to take out, the liquidity to then go lower versus when it's actually going to maintain that current range is going to be 100% contingent on whatever that higher high or higher low ends up mitigating. If this higher high mitigates an SMT, you can expect it to come down to the extreme following a type 2 inducement, right? So we look to buy for a type 2 inducement compared to a type 1 for buy scenario. We look to buy within our main range. We look to identify a lower time frame, right? If this is our 15-minute structure, this could be a 5-minute internal range. You want to use that 5-minute internal range to then understand if this is going to be a valid inducement for our 15-minute extreme order block. And these are the setups we love to see time and time again. And these are my two favorite setups, type 1 and type 2 inducements. Just trade those perfectly. Your win rate is going to be off the charts, right? So how does everyone feel about type 1, type 2 inducements as a whole? 1 for really good, 2 for I'm getting there. Sweet. And I'm just wondering about the conceptualization because the charts is going to be something completely different as we're going through, as I mentioned on days 1 and 2, it's really just going through all that content, looking at a whole bunch of, initial application on, from our presentation. And then that's where afterwards we can actually start going to the charts because all the conceptual behind it. Gabby's ready. Gabby's good. All right. Sweet. So now we're going to do what we started with yesterday, just some practice to warm us up for today. Right. So now the first thing we're going to do, everyone go ahead and just identify the structure of this trend. Identify the structure. So everyone go ahead and mark out the higher highs, higher lows. Awesome. All right. Fire on that. So next thing, everyone pause your screens. Okay. Next thing, if you've now identified that valid structure, which we know is higher low, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Again, we can see the respective structure that is continuously broken, right? Now, with that being said, where is the inducement? If we're looking to buy, what 2 types of lows do we look to buy below? right? So if we're looking to buy, remember that we need to have some form of gas. We need to induce some type of trader in the wrong direction. Now, if you guys can stop your screens for a second, from this scenario, we have a higher low and we have a higher high. And if we see here, this is our inducement. This is our type 1 inducement, right? This is our type 1. We look to buy below higher lows. We also had a few of you guys say that this is an inducement right here. So this is actually correct. We have a type 2, right? Because we would be buying below an internal, right, lower low. And then we could be buying below a type 1 higher low that makes new structure, because internally, right, we see this. So that would tell us, all right, well, maybe this could be the right order block, right? And you'd be like, oh, this follows order flow. Sure. But one key thing we need to always understand is when you're approaching this, how do you know which one it's going to be? If this order block does not mitigate anything to the left, this is an inducement. If it mitigates, right, if it did mitigate something, if it did mitigate this, then you would potentially follow order flow, right, to then go higher. So that should definitely make some sense. However, in this scenario, it's clear that this did not mitigate the order block to the left. I promise you it did not. So this scenario, right, because this order block was not mitigated, this would be, right, this would be our order block. This is our inducement. Where's our target? The same thing, right? It's exactly as we imagine with the picture. Take out a higher low to target a higher high. Boom, take out a higher low to target a higher high, exactly as the diagram. And that's where we anticipate the exact move to happen as it appears, just as so, right? So now let's go to another example here. Based on the information, right, that you guys have, let me pause. I just want to make sure I don't want to hide anything. Right, so even based off of this, right, let's start identifying, based on what you can clearly see, what is the structure in this scenario. Left to right. Right, great. So based off the limited information that we have, everyone, we can tell that we are looking for buys, because we see that we start somewhere lower over here, and then now we've made a new high, right? So now that we see this, we can assume that structure potentially looks something like this. We have some form here, here, here. Now again, oh, yes, you have all of this, but this is on a different time frame. That's not relevant to right now. We're just focusing on these main moves, right? So now that we've identified the trend, let's think about it. Let's identify the type 1 and the type 2 inducement. If we're looking for buys, look at your diagrams. Where would a type 1 inducement be if this is our structure? Everyone identify only the type 1. Only the type 1 inducement. I'm going to clear everyone's again. Wait a minute, please. All right. Look at your models, right? If we're looking for buys, where is the type 1 inducement? Right, so the type 1 inducement is right here. High, higher low, higher high. This is always going to be your type 1 inducement, right? So make sure to follow directions, because I know some of you guys might know it, but there's a specific way we're going to be going about it. So this is always our type 1 inducement, right? Because at this point in time, we might not know if the range can be broken or it's going to be respected. So now that we've identified our type 1 inducement, where is our type 2? The type 1 assumes that the range is going to be broken, whereas type 2 tells us that the range could actually maintain. Great, right? So now that we've identified the type 2 inducement, let's see what we have, right? All right, so internally, so we have a high, and type 2 is our internal continuation. Remember, this is our main leg. We're going to have internal structure. Our internal looks like a low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This is our internal. Where's our BOS? It's over here. This BOS tells us this is where structure has now shifted to cause a pullback on our main leg. So we have a high, a new low, new lower high, a new lower low. And then I can't tell if this one is lower high. And now we have let's just say this is a lower low, right? And this is where structure is right now. So based on this, where is our lower low that we'd want to be buying below? It is right here, right? So based off of this, we know now that there's two potential opportunities. right? We can either be looking for some form of buys below here to go higher, or we can look for some form of buys below here. Now, based on the information that you have access to, right? If we say this is a type 2 inducement, which it is, what do you think is going to be more probable? Looking to buy below here or buy below here with the information that you have access to? Here, right? Based on what we can currently see, we see that this low swept some form of liquidity and that caused this range to go higher. Now, because we have a type 2, this tells us that this could actually maintain. So where is our order block if this is our type 2 inducement? Boom, right there. It's as easy, right, as that. Here's our inducement. Order block is right below. So that being said, we have our type 2. We have our order block. And then where is our target? Right? That's our target. But besides saying structure, right, what type of inducement, let's see if anyone knows this, what type of inducement is this, right? So if we're trading inducement to inducement or trap to trap, which we're going to be talking about today, what type of inducement is this? Is it type 1, type 2? Right? So let's think about it. Type 2 inducements, type 1 inducements. What is a type 1, right? The type 1, we would be selling above a lower high. Is this a lower high? No, because our range, remember, is here to here. So if we're not selling above a lower high because this did not make a new low, this is a type 2. Exactly, right? A type 2 inducement tells us that we're selling above a higher high. Remember, because all of this, isn't this an internal, aren't these higher highs? So that means that all of these higher high, higher low, higher highs, this is internal structure, right? This is all an internal to an even deeper range to the left, right? So that's why we want to be targeting here. And this is where you're going to really start to learn, wave and market fractality, structure fractality, in the course, we really start practicing. It's always building a bigger picture. So this is a 5-minute wave, with maybe a hour leg. This hour leg could be bullish for maybe a 4-hour downtrend. Who knows? So this is a type 2 inducement that would be targeting. So a type 2, then to a type 2. And that's all that we would think about, right? Structure break to structure break. And that's how we always want to think about it. You're understanding the different types of liquidity as an extra resource to help you understand, what's going to be better. Here we have trend line broken 2. It's going to help you understand more about the logic, but inducement is really what tells you everything about the different liquidity types, why they're losing, where specifically they lose, right? We know how to do all this. So it's broken. Here is our extreme order block. Here is our type 2 inducement, right? Selling above an internal high. And then guess what? Targeting new structure. Setups are all over the place everywhere, right? And you're going to be learning all of this. So let's do one more together, right? Let's do one more. Actually, you guys do it now. Identify the main structure. Squint your eyes. What are the main expansions and pullbacks? Everyone only identify the structure. Just the main structure. Great. We got it. Beautiful. All right. We're going to clear that off for a second. All right. So now that you guys have identified the main structure, I think it's pretty clear that we have this whole sell-off. This is a low. We then have a retracement, lower high. Then we have a main lower low. And of course, we know within here, there's going to be internal structure, but based off of the trend, where is the obvious inducement at this point in time? Where's the inducement? Right? We look to sell above lower highs. And what type of inducement is this, everyone? Type 1 or 2 in the chat. You guys will get the hang of it soon enough, right? This is a type. Remember, guys, please don't mark anything until I say so we can go through it together. It's a type 1 inducement, right? Remember, a type 2 inducement, we are selling above here. We have a low, a lower high, a lower low. So it looks like this, this, this. We sell above lower highs for a type 1, right? And then after we sell above a lower high, we look to target the same thing. So with that being said, if that's our inducement here, where is our valid order block? Awesome, right? So exactly, this is our valid order block right here. Why? Because what? All even equal highs, right? We're not going to be identifying equal highs. It's very evident when there are equal highs. Inducement rather tells us even here, huge trend line. We know the trend line needs to be broken. Even over here, there's no imbalance besides right here. And will this work? Absolutely not, because it's a liquidity pool. So that means we can actually utilize this. Here's our order block, and we can expect price to come up here. And then where's our target? Great, right? So that's all that we're going to end up doing is think about breaks. Where are we breaking? Over here. This was an inducement. We're selling or buying below a lower low. So this would be a 2. And then where are we going to be targeting? We're going to be targeting a 1. We're going to be targeting a 1 to then be targeting another 2 because we are buying below here. So 2, 1, 2. And this is what you need to think about: structured break to structured break to structured break. Because everyone SMCs, oh, here's an order block, whatever, right? No, you're going to be learning today how we use that to our advantage. So understanding we are not structure, we are structurally break traders, aka trap trading, trapping everyone in the wrong direction, utilizing that to our advantage for buys, then buying to trap everyone in the wrong direction. And then we're now going to be selling, trapping everyone in the wrong direction for sells. And then at some point, coming all the way to take out everyone for the buys. Back and forth, trap trading. And exactly that. And you'll know how you can catch all of these moves based on what's over here. Great. I lied. We got to do one more, because it's covering what we've already been talking about. Everyone, at this point in time, please identify the structure from the left to the right, the main structure. Go for it. I believe this is the last one. Where's the structure? All right, let's see. All right. Nope, damn it. All right, well, it's already out there now. The world sees. So yes, you guys are absolutely right. We know we have some form of high. We then have some form of higher low. Why? Because this high now made a new high. So like we always do, whenever you see a structural range, a higher low and a higher high, or a lower high and a lower low, always ask yourself, where's the type 1 inducement? Where's the type 1 inducement? It's going to be below a higher low. That means we know why this range could break. Where's the type 2 inducement? Type 2 inducement, to know where that is, you need to know where the internal structure. So here we see, we have this push, we have this push, we have this. So we know that this is where the price is, low. It then makes a new low based off of here. And then what happens is we then make a lower high right here. And then our low pending lower low, this is our inducement. So we look to buy below an internal low into our order block, right? Into our order block. And then for price to then target what? Again, it's taking out a 2 to then go to a 1. And furthermore, this whole pool over here tells you that price needs to come all the way back up here. So we're trading from trap to then trap, and then at some point in the future, expecting price to take out all of it. That's why I emphasize so much practice before even going on the charts, because you need to understand how everything just works together, getting that same mindset, the same approach in time and time again. And the thing that you're going to be learning is when you know where this is going to happen, then, and you know where price is going to go, tells you where to focus on for your positions. And that's where my specialty is. And that's what you guys will be learning. The first relationship before mitigation, keeping early buyers out. You got it. All right. Now, we're going to be going over a brand new type of inducement, the last type of inducement. All right. Type 1 and type 3 inducements are very similar, but the key difference is inducing traders into seeing a new trend on a lower time frame. So a type 1 inducement, we call that a HTF BOS, meaning if you're looking at a 5-minute and you see a break of structure on the 5-minute, that's type 1. But let's say you're looking at a 15-minute or 30-minute main range, but then you see a internal BOS. Well, that is going to be a type 3. So this is what it looks like. We go ahead and give everyone a minute or so to go ahead and draw that down. And then type a one once you're complete, and once half of everyone is ready, I'm going to continue. One. All right, once we get 21s, then I'm going to continue. All right, type 3 inducements. The difference between type 1 and type 3 are these two little pink purple dots right here. This is telling us that the main trading range is actually being respected. So we have this range right here, and this could be maybe a 5 minutes. It doesn't matter, right? This is just going to be your main range. But within each main range, you're always going to have an internal range. You're going to have an internal range, as I was just previously identifying for type 2. That first internal range, that first high or low within a main range is your type 3 inducement. Because if you see a BOS in a 5 minute, maybe like this, within your 4-hour structure, I just got to do this. I'll make sure everyone's following. This is your 4-hour range, right? But then within, we know that we have, structure within it looks like this. And you see this. What are you thinking at this moment in time when you see something that looks like this, right? You might be thinking, oh, well, here's a BOS on an internal time frame. Now we could be pulling back on the higher time frame. This is an inducement because on the lower time frame, we're inducing traders to believe that there's going to be a reversal, but we're actually just collecting an internal higher low that's going to allow us to then resume and make new higher highs on that 4-hour, right? So that is how we apply this type 3 inducement. This reaction occurs after reacting from false supplies, meaning over here, you can expect if there's an order block that's not valid, it can mitigate it, cause a small reaction. Do not worry ever. Just focus on, after that mitigation, identifying that quick type 3 inducement to come down to maintain the main range and then go higher. Keynote is that when you see this kind of setup, typically it's going to be an extreme order block that is mitigated from our main range. When you see a type 3 inducement, it'll typically come to our extreme order block within our main range. All right, once we're done with this one, I'm going to go right into sells. So about 15 more seconds. All right, now we are going to be going into our sells. Our sells, right, looks almost the same as our type 1, type 3 are very close to one another. Again, the key point is that this is an internal structural wave. So we could be looking at main sells over here, then here. But within, right, we are always going to have some form of internal structure. This internal structure that you see will most of the time just be a lower time frame false BOS, right? It's the inducement, just to come up and mitigate the main leg extreme order block. Then from there, again, you have your type 3 back to our type 2. This reaction occurs as a result of price mitigating some form of SMT to the left, just to come to mitigate our extreme to go lower. Again, some of my favorite setups. Generally comes to our extreme refinement, as I've now said a few times. Once everyone is completed, I'm going to give you guys about 20 seconds. Type 1 in the chat when you're ready to continue, and we're going to go over a couple examples of this scenario. So we're halfway there. I will continue to the next slide. Got 13 people so far. All right, now we're going to continue. All right, so based off of this, everybody, again, one at a time, please. Where is the structure? Where's the main structure? So when you're identifying inducement, you guys are going to be doing two things. Make this as clean as you can. The first thing I want everyone to identify with a blue color is the main structure. Where's the main trend? Use blue and identify the main structure within here. Awesome. Awesome. All right, I'm going to clear the chart. You guys got it. I know some of y'all colorblind, but kidding. Awesome. Mr. Diafuerte. All right, great, right? So we see we have some form of push, higher low, higher high. At this point in time, our structure is from this higher low to this higher high. Now what I want everyone to do is identify with an orange color the internal structure, your internal structure within your main leg. Nice job not leaving that out, Trevor. That is very important. There we go. Mr. Bacade. Awesome, right? So our internal structure is going to be looking exactly as you guys have, right? Not there, right here. It's going to look like we have some form of low, high, higher low, higher high. This is our bearish break of structure that tells us we're having a pullback on our blue, right? So we see our BOS, lower high, lower low. We then see now we have a BOS here, which tells us structure is now shifted and is now ready to resume the main higher time frame. We have a higher low right here, and then we see our higher high. So based off of this, where is our type 3 inducement? Remember, type 3 and type 1 are very similar, but the difference between type 3 and type 1 is it's internal. Beautiful, right? Taking it one step at a, I love it, right? Now we can be all together on the same page. Great. So now we see, all right, this is the last higher low that made a higher high. We look to buy below internal higher lows. So now what's left to do is identify the order block, right? So if that's our inducement, let's identify our order block or order blocks rather. Right? And notice in this scenario, with the limited information we have, it's very straightforward. You know, we have our extreme, which always is going to be at, you know, the lows, and then we have our decisional right here. But what one do we think is going to be working out? And there's a key point. Well, shit, I just illustrated it. That's fine. Why do we know this decisional is going to work out more likely than the extreme? Can anyone answer that? Exactly. You guys got it, right? Close in proximity. It is closer. This inducement is lying just above our decisional. And most importantly, this is a certain type of decisional. Taking it a step further, does anyone know what type of decisional this is? Partially Javon, yeah. Interaction. Constantinos, you were close. It's an S2D decisional. S2D. What is an S2D decisional? Because at this point, when we were in a downtrend, where's the last order block? It's right here. Based off of structure, these internal traders would think, oh, well, this is my last supply. I want to be going lower from here, right? But notice it fails to make a lower low from here. So what happens is supply was actually converted. This supply was converted into demand. Supply was then converted into future demand that has inducement lying right before it, also structurally supported. Also, you guys are going to know what this key point is today, which is another confluence factor. And then that's one of our highest probability decisionals. We have a video about it for students who do already have access. Make sure to rewatch that. And it's the same thing, right? Talking about specific numbers, we take out a type 3 to target a type 2. We're always going to be targeting some form of type 2 inducement, higher high or lower low, always. Awesome. Right, so then it looks exactly like this. Easy, right? Easy, easy, easy. And then you can understand many ways. Well, how do we know price is going to go here with confidence? Well, a whole trend line. Also, we have many different types of liquidity that support it. break and retest, right? We then have also here, I mean, you have several types of, even here, break and retest. This only works for a break and retest zone because of inducement, because of the order block. That's why break and retest or some of these different types of liquidity will work only at specific places and specific, scenarios, because everything else happens to align with it. If you've seen a trend line work, it's because an order block and inducement, everything happen to be present at that same time, so on and so forth. Let's do one more practice example. Very, very limited information, but we want to see this from a fractal level. So everyone identify at this point in time, what is the current structure? Awesome. So let's think about this. Right. So if that is our valid structure, I'm not going to identify it for you guys. Where is the inducement? Where's the type 3 inducement, right? Type 3 and type 1 are very close to one another. We look to sell above an internal low or high. All right, let's see what you guys had, because we can all say, oh, that's all equal highs, sure. But we don't care about equal highs, right? We want to see inducement. Where's a specific point that must get taken, right? In this scenario, it is right here. We see that we have a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low barely. Take out this. Where's our order block? Awesome. That is our order block right here. Now, can anyone tell me, besides the inducement, what's a very powerful thing that indicates this is the correct order block? What does the order block do, or keyword follow, that makes it very probable? There we go, right? Order flow. Yes, took liquidity as well. So right here, we see that we have this is a specific type of decisional that you're going to be learning about, some of my favorites. We see this decisional was mitigated. So that tells us money has transferred from this order block to then the order block with imbalance after, which is right here. Liquidity was also taken into it, check. And then now we have the inducement. Now we have all of this lying down here. We're going to collect gas, 1, collect gas, 2, mitigate an order block. That follows order flow. And then that's going to allow price to zoom, go all the way down. My favorite scale and entries. Sometimes you might be like, I have no idea. Maybe sell above here. Where's the order block? There is none, right? So that's where it requires a very fractal understanding. Again, you have very limited information, but even this in a candle, it's still structure on even a lower time frame. It's always going to be the same thing, but it takes experience to be able to know all of that exactly with highs. All right. Rinse and repeat. I'm going to ask one last question about this over here. I'm going to do this real quick. Can anyone tell me, after this low is broken, where is the new main range? Awesome. Right? Remember, we can't just choose this high over here. We can't. Why? Because we have to actually follow. We had all of this to the left. Low, lower high. This high didn't make the lower low. This was the high that actually made the lower low. So now, if this is our main range, where are the internal points? Where are the internal points? All right. So if the internal points look like this, right, because you have something that looks like this, 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 this. Where's the inducement within now our new range? It's right here. Because this was already mitigated. Everything be looking to sell above this high or this one. So now if that's the inducement, where's the order block? Right here. And that's it. And how do you know it's this one versus the other? Well, there's a minor sweep, but also over here, this is lying just before, right, It's just lying just before. And that's what we're gonna be learning here in our first block. Well, we are technically in the first block, but that's how you do it, right? Oh, we have a new range. Here's our internal structure within the range. Here's our inducement. Here's our order block right afterwards. Boom. That becomes very quickly a 1 to 10 plus very easily. Exactly, Matthias. Again, OB plus M